All righty. Perfect. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And sorry, just then my cat starts jingling. So apologies or not. We all love cats here, I'm sure. Okay. So looking over in the chat, so these are going to be some of the things that I'm going to mention in the presentation today. So these are just some assets, links, instructions and so forth that we're going to go over. All right, so here's the whole thing. This webinar is mainly centered around tips for increasing your frequent buyer program awareness and engagement. And if you do have any questions as we're going, feel free to type them into the chat and either myself or Stacy will address them. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Let's get started. And yes, I am a Star Trek nerd, so that's why you're going to see all the weird engaged stuff and warp factor and whatever. So just bear with me. Okay. All right. So what's the issue here? So Astro, we've actually discovered that a decent amount of frequent buyer cards are abandoned or never redeemed. So this is kind of crazy if you think about it. So for one, participating in a frequent buyer program at your local store actually has been proven to save more money than even buying things from, certain giant online stores or big box stores. I cannot mention anybody by name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. All right. So yeah, customers can save a significant amount of money if they just fill up their loyalty card and get their free item from you, upwards of 20% even. So that's substantial. So why are these cards getting abandoned? So let's kind of explore this real quick. All right. So one possibility here is that your customers or just customers in general are unaware that there are frequent buyer programs. Number two, they do not know specifically what cards they have on their account. So as you guys know, the way certain brands decide to have their frequent buyer programs categorized, some of them allow mixing of sizes and so forth, where some of them do not. So if you have customers that are buying different size bags, even within the same brand, they're going to be added to different cards. So part of this whole thing is, getting the best value for their dollar. They need to be able to see these cards to understand strategically what they should be buying and when. All right. Number three, they do not understand the rules of the program. So maybe they don't realize that the program is categorized according to size, or maybe they don't realize that it is a lesser than or equal value free program. Having visual access to these cards will help them understand, again, the whole strategy of like what to complete and what they should be working on. And the final reason is they do not understand the massive benefits of frequent buyers. So part of what we just discussed earlier is that they are going to save more money doing this with you than they would if they were to buy this stuff online or from a big box store. And by online, I mean the big guys, not for you guys that have, 24/7 online stores. So here's the thing. How are we going to fix this? All right. So the cool thing is that Astro already has the tools you need to turn this around and increase your customers' participation in these programs. All right. So you got this, and we can help you with this. And yes, I did a cat in space because I couldn't help myself. All right. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to help increase awareness. So putting up signage around your store is a great way for doing this. So, brick and mortar stores, you have your customers coming in, even if they do, purchase something online from you. Some of you might have, like a pickup in store in place. They're still coming in, they're still walking around and so forth. So the cool thing about all Astro signage that is generated, either from our media kit or our shelf talkers, is all of them contain QR codes. So these QR codes are going to give them access to the mobile app if they don't already have it. So the mobile app does a couple of things. It will show your customers their frequent buyer cards. So they'll be able to see them all itemized out. They're going to be able to see all of their purchases that apply to it. They're going to be able to read the rules of the program, understand all of those nuances, and they're going to be able to see, most importantly, how far away they are from getting that free item. So the cool thing about the mobile app is every time your customers go up to the register and your cashiers add punches to their cards, the moment that your cashier hits finished, that new punch is going to appear on their digital card on that mobile app. And as you all know, they can only add punches to that card if they come back to your store. They can't just be running all around town, slapping punches on that card. The other benefit of these flyers is that they do explain the rules of the programs, like the frequent buyer shelf talkers, they do that. And then the Astro Media Kit flyers, and these include things like, shelf wobblers, actual flyers, poster sizes, and then they also do have like the tabletop little mats that you can have right there at the counter. So like if, the customer is kind of standing there waiting to get rung up, I know me, like I will read stuff while I'm standing at the register. It's honestly why they put all the tabloid newspapers up at the register, because they know people are going to stand there and they're going to read stuff. So why not have them read stuff about the loyalty programs that you're participating in? They could scan that QR code while they're standing there. And that's actually the best way that they could scan this code. Why? Because when they're setting that app up, and they can do it really quickly, they can check in with the cashier and say, hey, do I have my email address on file? Because it's saying here on this application that I need an email address to log in and view my cards. And then what can the cashier do at that moment? Type in that email. So that's huge benefit right there to have these guys up by the register. All right. All righty. And then the second part is just engagement. So engagement goes both ways. You can't really expect your customers to engage with their loyalty program if you're not engaging with them as well. So how do we do that? So we already talked about putting the shelf talkers up and the flyers and everything. The second part, and all of that information I just shared with you previously, is free and included. So everybody has the app, everybody has access to these flyers and printables. The second part right here, the second part of engagement, is only available to those that are using our marketing suite. So within the marketing suite, there is a recipient list builder. And one of the things that I included in the chat is a past webinar where I go over the top 7 lists that you really do want to have at the ready within the Astro Marketing Suite. So some of those lists that I mentioned there's one, this is the big one, in my opinion. This is the one that allows you to make a list that shows your customers who have completed their frequent buyer cards, but they have not been by to redeem them. So what I usually do is I make this list for 30 days or more, meaning they've had that card completed for at least 30 days. Because most of my customers, they would come in at least every 30 days to get their pets food. If they went over that, they may not know they got something waiting for them. So give them a little poke and say, hey, guess what? I just want to look out for you. You have something free at my store, which you can come pick up whenever you're ready. The next part is you're able to make lists that show customers who have a specific number of punches left on their cards. So this can be anywhere from, 1 punch left to 6 punches left. So that's kind of the magic numbers that we found. So one of a couple things could be happening here. If they have a card that just, is missing punches, it could just be that they're coming in every so often and they're adding punches to that card. And you sending them an email, letting them know, or a push notification, or, a text message, letting them know that they have, a certain amount of punches in their cards is helpful to them, even if they're already tracking it. Okay. You're just making sure that they're aware and you're helping them out a little bit. Like most people will appreciate that. I would appreciate that, honestly. And then you also could be hitting customers that have no idea that, 1, that card even existed, or 2, that they were over the hump to getting something for free, because most cards are 12 punches. And if it's a program that is less than 12, like 10, 8, 6, that we're getting more programs like that, you letting them know that they're even closer to getting that free item, it becomes that much more exciting. And they realize the value of consistently coming into your store and adding punches to those cards. Now, here's the crazy thing, all right? So these recipient lists, they can be added to Astro campaigns very easily. and you can send those targeted campaigns, but they also can be exported and used for external campaigns. So if you're already using an external text messaging platform or an email platform or something along those lines that you just really like, I've had retailers just get the marketing suite purely to make these recipient lists because they are that valuable. So definitely check them out if you haven't already. All right, so let's talk about the resources that we went over, and all of these things I have added into the chat for you. So you can click on those links, open them up in your browser pages and access them later. So we have our YouTube video, the top 7 campaigns for customer engagement. We have our knowledge base article. This one is the one that has to do with recipient lists. So it'll go through all the different recipient lists that can be made using that tool and the benefits of each one and some example campaigns that you can run using those different recipient lists. And then we have our Astro Media Kit, also called the Astro Merchandising Kit. This one you can use to print those posters, flyers, tabletop displays, pop-ups, and so forth. So you can either print them yourself. You can use, color printer, anything that you have at hand. You can go into a printing store like Kinko's. I'm so sorry for my cat. He's nuts. I have found him a therapist, and we're working on it. Anyway, if anybody knows a good cat therapist, that would be great too. I'm serious, literally. Okay, moving right along. So, so Astro Media Kit. And then you can also get them professionally printed. So some people will do that mainly for the one that you can put right there on your counter. So they'll get the really nice one, like the plastic, kind of like the plastic vinyl top with the little padding underneath to, basically protect your counter, give some cushioning while also giving your customers something to read and engage with. And then we got our frequent buyer shelf talkers. And of course, if you need any, thank you, Stacy. Of course, if you need any additional help, you can always hit us up at support@astroloyalty.com and we can answer your questions there. Oh, and bonus. So we have linked our Facebook Messenger to our help desk. So if you guys would like to use Facebook Messenger to communicate with us and send us and submit a ticket, that is now a possibility. So find us on Facebook at Astro Pet Loyalty. And perfect. All right, so I'm going to turn this little guy off. And if anybody has any questions, I would be, and Stacey and I would be more than happy to answer them.